So where the money's going is confidential, is a commercially sensitive, you determine to be commercially sensitive confidential information.
That is what, through consultation with the companies,
And is that what the company requested? They requested that be confidential?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the process that you go through, the company says we want all of these things redacted and you say yes? Or you say no, that's clearly not commercially sensitive and therefore we're not going to redact it. I guess what I'm asking is, do you have discretion internally to determine what was redacted for the committee, or was this just whatever Stellantis or which other company said, we consider this commercially sensitive, therefore it needs to be redacted?
I guess what I can answer is that, it's a back and forth discussion we have with companies on a case by case basis.
Okay.
And we play a challenge function in terms of what a company requests to be redacted or not. And we have always in the past, and including in this case, found a reasonable landing ground in terms of what's redacted and what's not redacted.
And how many people in your department have access to these documents to determine the redactions, and what are their levels in the department?
Well, I have, in this specific case, I have the people beside me that were involved in those discussions.
That's it. No one else in the department. No one else had access to these documents than the 4 people sitting here today?
Access to the contribution agreement?
Yeah, the contribution agreement, the unredacted contribution agreement to determine the redactions.
So
quick answer, please.
There would be officers within the program that were involved in the negotiation and the development of these documents who would see those documents, yes. So there is a team within the department that works on all of our contribution agreements. But those are treated commercially confidential, and we don't share that information outside of the department without the consent of the company.
Okay. That is our time. We'll go to Ms. Sudds now for 6 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thanks to all of you for being here with us this morning. Obviously, an important opportunity to better understand the current situation, and unfortunately was hoping Stellantis would be here, but it seems that's not the case today. So my question's directed to yourself. So perhaps just starting with, could you please describe the details of the Strategic Innovation Fund, as it's historically been called, and why it was created? What's its intended purpose?
Great. So thank you for that question. So I may get corrected on this, but I think it was created in 2017. And at the time previous to that, the funding by the Department of Industry, which was at the time, was really focused on very specific sectors, so the automotive and aerospace sectors in particular. And there was a perspective that we were losing out on some very interesting investments that were taking place in other sectors of the economy. So at the end of the day, there was a decision that was made to really have a fund that would be able to capture broader, attractive investments that Canada wants to have, including automotive and aerospace, but actually broadening out in terms of other sectors. And since that time, there's been, I don't have the exact number, but I think there's been 152 projects that have been undertaken under the SIF, and now what's called the Strategic Response Fund. There was just over $11 billion that federally that have been invested under that program, and that's for what we think is about just over $75 billion of economic activity in Canada based on those investments. The investments are pretty broad in terms of the sector. So I mentioned automotive and aerospace, but we also have biomanufacturing and life sciences has been a very important recipient, a sector, steel, aluminum, and heavy industries, which at this time, under the tariff threats from the U.S., is all the more important. Digital and emerging technologies, clean technology, critical minerals, artificial intelligence. So you really have an ability to capture the right investments. And the broader context is that other jurisdictions are also trying to create a policy space and a financial attractiveness space. We're trying to attract these same investments. So we are, at the end of the day, trying to attract those investments in Canada with a tremendous benefit. And by and large, provinces typically also support financially these investments. So at the end of the day, there's a recognition by both levels of government the importance of attracting these. Maybe just going back to just a point on redactions of documents, just to be clear as well, is that one of the reasons we also feel it's important to have some redactions is there are sometimes some elements in these agreements that we'd rather not have competing jurisdictions have full understanding of, so that we're able to leverage those investments as the best possible. So just as other jurisdictions do, we do think there's a moments in time when it's better not to release the full information from those agreements.
Point. And actually, just this morning, I was at Nokia with a SIF-related update on their project. So it certainly touches a lot of sectors. I'm wondering if you